No, I still have not gotten a haircut, but it's fine. I'm making do. I wanted to give everybody a little bit of a midweek update and comment on some stories that I'm probably not going to get to for Freestyle the News this Sunday. So anyway, right off the bat, let's start with Chappell Roan. Chappell Roan, one of the biggest new pop artists to break into music this year, has come under intense scrutiny because she refuses to endorse a presidential candidate for the 2024 election. You already know this game. By refusing to endorse, she's being irresponsible with her platform, but if she does endorse, she's going to be irresponsible with her platform. It's her duty to specifically endorse this candidate, because if she doesn't, she could risk destroying democracy. It's very similar to what happened to Taylor Swift earlier this year and every other celebrity who Twitter sees. With such hits like "Sorry, Not Sorry, I'm Still Pissed the Fuck Off" at Chappell Roan, how can you sit there 1 hour after a man was wrongfully executed in your home state and whine that people misunderstood you, then say the exact same thing with more words? Presidential elections have consequences. Thank you for using the death of Marcellus Wiliams for your soapbox there. And this lovely tweet, Chappell Roan is an embarrassment to lesbians. What? You can't borrow from drag aesthetics and embrace your sexuality and then pretend the party that would criminalize our happiness is the same as the one who protects it. What the fuck are you talking about? For the record, Chappell had said, "I have so many issues with our government in every way. There are so many things I would want to change, so I don't feel pressured to endorse someone. There's problems on both sides." That's not saying that one side isn't criminally worse for women's rights than the other, or LGBTQ rights than the other. It's specifically saying there are just problems with the government. But I know that's hard to understand when you're on the platform where if you say you like waffles, you hate pancakes. Now, Chappell eventually got wind of this and responded.
Endorsing and voting are completely different. I don't agree with a lot of what is going on with, like, policies. Like, obviously, fuck the policies of the right, but also fuck some of the policies on the left. There is no way I can stand behind some of the left's completely transphobic and completely genocidal views. Fuck Trump for fucking real, but fuck some of the shit that has gone down in the Democratic Party that has failed people like me and you. And more so, Palestine. So yeah, I'm voting for fucking Kamala. But I'm not settling for what has been offered, because that's questionable.
Now, that response has been met with a lot of praise. People have been saying, hey, they understood what she meant all along. People can read between the lines. It's kind of crazy that she even had to clarify it. And listen, I'm going to say this quickly before we go any further. There are some people who exist primarily online who do not understand how political endorsements or endorsements to movements actually work. And before you think I'm specifically talking about liberals, nah, the celebrity blockout is also a very good example of people not understanding the positives and negatives of somebody coming out in support or in opposition to a movement. Listen, when a public figure endorses something or someone, there are two sets of people that are put into play. People who know who that figure is and believe in them and support them and feel that their endorsement is significant or it means something larger in the scope of all things, and people who think the public figure is a dirty piece of shit and an elitist. So you think you're fucking better than me now? And whoever wins that calculus, plus or minus the people who like this person or dislike this person or even care, is what happens to that movement or politician or whatever the fuck. So just for relevancy, hey, Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. It's wonderful. That is a net benefit. There were some people who hated on Taylor for her decision, but she timed it in a way where the fanfare looked reasonable and it boosted Kamala's momentum, got people registered, got fans of Taylor really, really excited to support and engage with the election. Good job. Hey, also, Dick Cheney endorsed Kamala Harris, consolidating the very important Dick Cheney fan base. Of course, the people who are, lifelong supporters of the guy who helped build the worst U.S. foreign policy blunder since Vietnam. That guy whose endorsement has become kind of a little bit of a nothing burger or a laughing stock, and actually saw Harris get some bad headlines and press against some of her key demographics, and which helped the fucking crazy guy who tried to cause an insurrection frame himself as the anti-war candidate. You can't tell that's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. So hey, would Chappell Roan help? I don't know. I mean, people could be like, hey, she's just another young person who's out of touch. What does she know? And certain kind of red, purple states, you'll have parents saying, don't play your music and stuff like that. She could get more people registered to vote and more young people engaged, but she could also get other people saying, hey, you're complicit in a genocide. She could have a lot of people feel like, hey, she's empowered. She could also have people denigrate her sexuality and have a ton of harassment against her online ensue. Somebody who is famously not happy with just constant public attention on her all the time, this is so fucking ironic. But there are a lot of different things that can happen, both positive and negatively in this situation. So maybe, just maybe, stop pushing people to publicly endorse things like it's a moral obligation. Obviously, there are some situations where, yes, somebody has to come out and say something, or it's kind of weird that they're not and ignoring it. But if you don't understand politics, and even if you do, there are other ways to be supportive besides a big public billboard saying, hey, I support this thing. A lot of times it can actually hurt candidates. Ask almost any cause that Sean Penn supported in the mid-2000s. Or better yet, ask Dick Cheney. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And anyway, let's move on to probably one of our most harrowing stories today, Marcellus Wiliams. Marcellus Wiliams was executed 2 days ago in the state of Missouri at 6 p.m. for the murder of Felicia Gale. Here's the thing. There is an overwhelmingly good chance that he was innocent. And this was known. He maintained his innocence since forever. An attorney from the prosecution, the defense, the victim's family, multiple levers of society said that this was a miscarriage of justice with DNA evidence backing him up. But Governor Mike Parsons pushed through an execution, ignored an independent report just to get a death row inmate killed for optics. Every part of this process in Missouri, including work from the Attorney General, the Supreme Court of Missouri, the Alford plea William gave before the deal with that Alford plea was overturned. Everything here feels rigged to make an example of someone to kill. And it is an insane miscarriage and a horrifying miscarriage of justice that this man died. And it is not uncommon for this kind of stuff to happen. For every 8 people executed on death row, 1 person has been exonerated. That should horrify you. Not to mention, death row and executions are fucking expensive. They cost taxpayers tons and tons and tons of money. What makes this so infuriating, though, was how needless it was, and for what purposes this execution even commenced with. Every way this case was handled originally was circumspect, with informants possibly being paid, with an all-white jury, with the refusal to allow DNA testing. The fuck? All of this amounts to a bunch of people who are playing with innocent lives for bullshit optics. And this is what I want to talk about. And there's 2 things I'm going to say about this. 1, this is obviously horrific. An innocent person was killed, and it wasn't to seek justice for the victim. It was to push through a procedure and not question the process when enough information about the miscarriage of said process was there. Number 2, this is 100% a deliberate show of strength from the Missouri death row system. This is meant to delegitimize challenges to that system and leverage gain. It is meant to anger activists and put the blame on them for being unrowdy and criminal while shoring up power and building up the death row brand. I don't mean like there's like a death row brand, but I'm saying there's a very specific conversation around the death penalty that these people fucking benefit from. And if you feel like I feel that this was a miscarriage of justice, which it fucking was, if you want to change it, the best way to do it is to act in a way that is not in the best interests of Governor Parson and his stupid fucking friends. Which means, sure, obviously, protest, demonstrate, but they are going to try to spin that. What will hurt these people the most is local and state elections in Missouri when the time comes up and Parson is on that ballot, as well as judges and council members and everybody in that system, and using the years before that and during that election cycle to make this moment his fucking story. This shithead pushed through an execution with faulty evidence so he could kill someone and look better about it, regardless of doubt. It could happen to anybody. Look how corrupt this is. Make that this motherfucker's story. The biggest injustices in our system are when people leverage the government to look better at the expense of others. It's how strong men clear a square to hold a Bible upside down during the worst pandemic of our lives in the middle of an unsanctioned killing by police officers. You have to use optics and marketing against these people because that is the tool they are trying to use and slide into. You have to appeal to the people they are trying to look strong against. Because if Parsons loses the support of the people he was trying to gain by pushing this through and looking tough on crime, everyone who tries to pull this shit again will have to deal with consequences. I understand this is horrific, and I'm not trying to get on a soapbox and say vote and all that. I'm not trying to do that. I am just frustrated that this is a system that greases its wheels like that. And I want to try to find a situation or a solution that leads to them having so many more pain points that they can't pull this shit again. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. One other way to help is to donate to the Innocence Project. The Innocence Project is an amazing, amazing, amazing organization. They help out with cases like these all the time. They are incredibly effective. So please donate to it if you have a spare dollar. It's absolutely important. And let me know what you think in the comments. Next up, let's talk about Eric Adams. Oh, Eric Adams, the mayor of New York and the guy who got his shit rocked by Olayemi Olorin on the Breakfast Club a couple months ago, has been indicted on at least one federal criminal charge. He is the first sitting mayor to be indicted. What's up, bitch? Adams has been the subject of federal investigation for months for campaign fundraising violations and influences, for corruption, all of which he is denied passionately, while being believed by fucking who? Who the fuck believes this guy? Who this fucking guy? Really, Eric? Earlier today, AOC called for Adams to step down amongst the slew of resignations in his admin, including Police Commissioner Edward Caban, School Chancellor David Banks, and Adams' fucking dignity for him to be able to even say, for anyone who self-righteously claims people charged with serious crimes should not be in jail, to now say that the second black mayor of New York should resign because of rumors and innuendo without even a single charge being filed is the height of hypocrisy. Oops, here's the charge there, buddy. Look, AOC and many others have said the amount of people pulling out and fucking leaving this shit show and the focus on Adams has made it actually more difficult to even govern the city as a whole. In terms of my thoughts on Eric Adams, which I wonder where I stand on this. Listen, watching people like these is a masterclass in douchebaggery, because motherfuckers like this will look at you with a straight face while holding the smoking gun in their hand and then say, are you just going to blame me because I have a smoking gun in my hand? Like, you're just going to blame me because the smoking gun is in my hand? That's insane. The gun was smoking when I got here. All right. Maybe the gun just likes to smoke. Maybe it's one of those new smoking guns that they make that smoke after you fire them or when you don't fire them. I don't know. Look how folksy I am. Look, Eric Adams is corrupt as fuck, all right? Okay, it's the way he's charged over the city. Every scandal that's rocked his admin has been brick upon brick upon brick of a house that he can't unbuild. The way he's put up this tough on crime bullshit and brought back stop and frisk, the way he's criminalized homelessness and made it harder for those families to even get a home by vetoing a bill that increased eligibility for housing vouchers. He wrote an op-ed on that, to which the city council said, you're full of shit. And then he tried to curtail the city council's power because he had so many fights with them. Also, he was accused of sexual assault. Just on top of that. That's the innuendo he's talking about. Fuck this bitch. This bitch. You heard me. You're a bitch. You're also too much of a bitch to look Olay in the eye when she's beating your ass on television. Look yourself in the eye before you clock into those handcuffs, motherfucker. You goon. You and Giuliani can talk about the good old days when you both fucked up an opportunity you had because you weren't good enough for it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think he's a piece of shit. Fuck him. And that's our show. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I did a fun little thing with a sponsor yesterday. Fucking Raid Shadow Legends wanted to sponsor me. And so instead I did a deep critical dive on their game and stuff. It's kind of fun. You should go check it out. But we'll be back this week with a freestyle of the news. I know you miss me. But anyway, my name is Tabani. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all soon. Let's go.